welcome. Okay. Wishing you all charm and very good morning. Recipe for peace. Our Guru, Vedatri Maharishi, has written a poem on this title, Recipe for Peace. So that is what taken today as a topic. When I mentioned this first time through phone to our beloved Shaker, who is scheduling the Friday speeches and coordinating with the speakers, he got it as recipe of peace. So he was a bit confused. What am I mentioning about? Then later on, when I communicated through the message, then he got it clear. So I just thought of clarifying that our topic is recipe for peace. So today in this topic, we'll be discussing about what is peace, why is it important for all living beings, and why is it significant for human beings, and also why our Guru's dream is world peace. When we talk about peace, many of us think that it is like being quiet or being silent, right? That's what generally understood by the word peace. But when we talk philosophically, it is not only being quiet and silent, it's beyond that, right? It's kind of a mental state in which we will be having a stability and also free from unnecessary external and internal disturbances. There could be many things happening around us, but we may react. Yeah, that is what human tendency. We may react to the situation, but we should not be disturbed by the happenings. Yeah, I could see the thoughtlessness. Yeah, that is also one kind of. But when we do meditation or when we do silence practice, we may go to that state like thoughtlessness. But when we talk about peace in general, in today's context, I mean to say it is like a stable mental state in which we can continue doing the things without getting any distracted by the surroundings or the situation. Next, beyond pleasure and pain. One of our boss in the office used to say, normally we will mention, right, whenever some task is assigned to us, we used to mention, like when we are accepting the task, we used to mention that with pleasure, right? So that boss always says that whenever someone is mentioning like with pleasure, he used to say that with pleasure or with pressure, the task has to be completed because we don't have time after that. That is what we used to mention. So here, yeah, when we talk about peace, it is like beyond the pleasure and pain. Because our Guru used to mention, right, the mind has four functional stages, which are known as pleasure, pain, peace, and ecstasy. So when we do something, that action is creating some result. So that result will be felt by our mind in these four kind of stages. Yeah. So either it will be a pleasure or pain, and when we cross that phase, we will be able to reach to a stage called as peace. And of course, the ecstasy is the next state in which we will be able to realize or enjoy when we do a prolonged practice and also crossing that peace state. And philosophically, when we talk about peace, we will get this bird in our mental picture, right? A white dove. There is an interesting background for making this bird as a symbol of peace. Long back in Central Asia, there was a big war was about to happen between the two kingdoms. So one of the king was gearing up and getting ready to go to the battlefield. Once he did all the readiness, he was reaching to take his war helmet. At that time, he noticed that a dove made a nest in his helmet. So when he was about to touch that, his mother, there's a mother of the king, asked him to leave that undisturbed and go to the battlefield without helmet. The king also respected his mother's words and did the same. He reached the battlefield without the helmet. When the opponent king noticed this, he asked him, did he forget his war helmet? Yeah, in that time there is some ethics being followed, right? Even though they are enemies at the battlefield, they used to follow some ethical concept before the war. So he was asking, did he forget the war helmet? Then the first king explained the real reason why he didn't bring that. He was about to take it, but due to the situation, and he told the real reason. Then by hearing that, the opponent king felt that seeing the compassion and love of this king even towards that bird, so the opponent king got melted and thought that his decision about the war on this kingdom may not be really right. He might have misjudged and came. That is what he felt. Then again, by talking to the king, both the kings later settled down with an agreement of peace. So the war got stopped. So this is the interesting background for this bird being a symbol of peace, because this bird has stopped a war between two kingdoms. So later in 1949, the modern world has made this bird, white dove with an olive branch in its beak, as a symbol of peace. And again, for that olive leaf also there is another belief. In ancient civilization, when it is growing, people are living in several islands. So when they need some kind of verification, do any other people also living around, and it's not only our island, there could be somebody else living. So when they want those kind of confirmation, they used to send this bird beyond their island. So it used to fly around, and when it reaches crossing all the ocean, and then whenever it reaches to any land, when it is coming back to the island, it used to come with a twig of live. So by that, people are getting hope that in this universe and in this place, we are not alone, and there are people around, and there is some other land is also there. By that belief only, people started exploring, and civilization grows, and we all got connected as this world today. Okay, coming back to our topic. So the next question we had was like, why is it important for all living beings, right? By law of nature, all the living beings are destined to live peacefully. Because we know that, right? Every living creature, if you see that before that living being is created, the nature or the supreme power has created all other things which are required for that living being to live peacefully. So that is what being followed in nature. Everything is followed in with a perfection. So take any living beings, being an ant, or being a bird, or being an animal. So before creating it, what is required for that to live with some kind of basic needs? So that's what nature will take care of, and then it creates the living being. So by that, we all can understand every living being is having a basic right to live at peace. Live at peace in the sense satisfying all the needs for living with happiness, right? So by that only we will be able to reach to that state what we saw in the topic of peace, right? So kind of mental state in which we can keep doing the things without any external or internal different disturbances. So when we come to the human being, why is it significant for human beings? So we all know that, right? Human beings are the highest level of species among all living beings in this earth. Because we only have that sixth sense, which is like a superior kind of power, which is given to human being, so that we will be able to think, analyze why the things are happening in that way, and we will be able to change the results also according to our need. So this is what becoming a trouble also in human life, because when we cross the limit of changing things, we may be getting some kind of negative effects, right? So that is why this peace is more significant for human beings, because being the powerful species, it has to be the power of being human has to be effectively managed and effectively executed. Otherwise, the peace will be disturbed. Even though the nature has created everything for us and giving a knowledge to us also to change the things and live with comfort. So we have to be respecting the nature and be in our limit. Otherwise, our peace will be again disturbed. So that is the reason it is more significant for the human being. And the next question, which we have seen earlier, is why our Guru's dream is world peace. In his autobiography, Vedatri Maharishi is mentioning that in his childhood days, being grown up in poor family, he could see the poverty in his family and around the society. He was mentioning about this in his autobiography, that the three questions were bothering him, like why there is poverty and why people are getting sick, means why the diseases are coming in different ways to many people and unexpected times and etc. etc. It's creating a lot of trouble to the human being. And the next is about question about the death, why that happens to human being. So from his young age, he started analyzing the things based on these three questions, and he was trying to arrive to a solution. Up to age of 35, he went through different kind of philosophical explanations, philosophies, and doing lot of experiments, going through a lot of medical practices and many kind of ways. He utilized his life to find an answer for all those questions which he had earlier. So in conclusion, from all those questions and years of analysis, he feels that the entire human beings in the world is not living at peace, how the nature has designed to live. So for that only, he kept the world peace as a highest goal of our organization. And from there, he was designing many steps or many practices to reach to that ultimate goal, world peace. Let us see more further and what are those topics and how we need to develop and what we can do to achieve that ultimate goal. So when we talk about world peace, it cannot be achieved in a single step, right? Because when we mean the world peace, it's not like leaders of high level nations sitting together and talking to each other and deciding the things. It cannot happen in that way. So that is the reason he put some kind of stages how the peace could expand and reach to the world peace state. So it all to be starting with the first step, which is individual peace. So every human being in this world has to attain individual peace. Then only it can expand to his family. So then family peace will be felt. Then when one family is living at peace, by seeing that, the society will also try to adopt that practice and social peace will be attaining, and then it can be expanded to the world level. So these are the main stages which he visualized to expand the peace. The first step which we have seen as individual peace. So when we talk about individual peace, every human being has to understand fully about himself. Then only we can talk about attaining peace within them, right? So nature has given all the means to think, analyze, and do the things properly for every human being. So when we talk about understanding self, our Maharishi is making things more clear for us, because every one of us has got three components within us, right? Which is commonly known as like body, mind, and life force. So when we are talking about one person knowing himself fully, so a person has to be completely aware on these components which are continuously functioning by following the law of nature. the body, mind, and life force. So when we are talking about understanding the body, yeah, we all have some kind of knowledge which we attained through the education. The science today has developed a lot, doing a lot of innovational practices in medical field. So giving out all the information about our body parts and organs, internal parts, and the functions, what are all happening and why they are happening. All those explanations are available today. So by all those, we can develop some kind of knowledge on our body. And again, there should be some systematic practice to maintain all those functioning to be happening effectively all through our lifetime, right? So for that reason only, our guru has developed the physical exercises, which is like a preventive measure for all the diseases before it comes. Means we can understand the body parts or organs and functioning, and we can realize by today's science when there is a disease, it may be too late. So that is the reason we need to have a systematic practice to prevent all those diseases before it comes. So our simplified physical exercises covering all our physical body parts, taking care of all the natural processes happening without any disturbance by following a rhythmic exercise given to each part of our body. Then comes mind. So about mind, again our guru has given lot of explanations, philosophical truth about mind, how that is happening, and what are the stages of mind, how it is functioning, and how we need to handle it. We all know that while hearing this speech itself, how many things are being analyzed in our mind. It could be relating to the previous slide, or relating to the topic, or relating to our guru, or relating to the practice which we learned specifically and the benefit which we got. There could be many things going around within us, right? So that is the power of the mind. It can process maybe around 200 thoughts in a minute. So that has to be properly managed, right? For that also we need a practice, because when we go above the limit, that also will be a disturbance. So when we are overutilizing the power of the mind, we may lose peace. So that is the reason we should understand all the concepts about the mind and follow some systematic practice to handle that effectively, to manage that effectively without disturbing our peace. For that, he has given the meditation, so which is a practice being followed in our system. When we do the meditation, the mental frequency is lowered. With that lowering process, we are getting some kind of strength to increase our willpower. That adds more power to us, to our knowledge, our consciousness, to control the mind as it has to be. Then comes the life force. Including science, many other systems are not providing enough clarity on the life force, right? We all know that when we are, any living being is having kind of energy, which is termed as life force. But when we try to understand how that energy is coming, how that is produced, and how that is being managed within the physical body, so there is no much clarity given by many of our systems around. So that is the reason our guru has given again simple and in-depth explanations how the life force is produced in our body and how it is being spent and how we can conserve it. So all those ways are given to us, as well as he has given again a unique practice to maintain and enhance the life force within our physical body. That practice, as we all know, that is called as Kayakalpa Yoga. So by doing that simple systematic practice, that is giving a very good strength to our life force to function with all the expectations as per the law of nature. So by managing all these three components within ourselves, like body, mind, and life force, when we do some kind of practice and when we manage these three in harmony, definitely we will be able to reach to a state of peace, which can be extended further by doing the advanced level of meditation. And beyond peace, we will be able to realize the ecstasy state also. So on that basis only, our simplified Kundalini Yoga practices are designed by him, which is proven as a strong practice which can give individual peace to any individual at any age. When we start adopting this practice, we will be able to attain individual peace after a certain period of practice. Then next about family peace, which is the second step. Once the individual peace is achieved, and when one person in the family is maintaining that peace in that state, so the interaction with others will be changing, right? The others who are at a different mental state also will observe this change, and they will be able to get attracted towards that. So it used to be discussed in the family level, and they may ask about the practice, and they will also try to learn, and they will also try to adopt. So the individual peace will be expanding to all the family members in the second step. And in addition, when we start interacting as a family with the society, because there will be some people around, even the individual, not only with family, he will be interacting with friends and colleagues as part of the society, right? So both the family peace and social peace expansion will be happening in parallel. So mainly when we talk about the family piece, there are three techniques additionally given by our Maharishi. Even though we are doing the other three practices to manage our body, mind, and life force, so there could be some kind of additional emotional controls or emotional management techniques are required for us when we deal with other people who are beyond our physical body, right? Because they have their own thought process happening within them, and they may have a different opinion, idea, or background, being a family member or a colleague or a friend, whoever it is. So when we try to interact with others, we need to have some kind of specific qualities developed within us. So there are some techniques given to him which are known as like three do's and three don'ts. So when we talk about the do's, tolerance, adjustment, and sacrifice, these three are basically required to have a harmonious relationship beyond our self. So when we talk about one individual person having interaction with several other people within family or in the society, so these three techniques, tolerance, adjustment, and sacrifice, when we maintain and when we adopt this as our quality, we will be able to have harmonious relationship. Then our individual peace, our inner peace is not disturbed in those interaction also. And again, the three don'ts also given as don't comment, don't command, and don't demand. These all three significant tips will be very useful for us to utilize in all situations when we interact with our family members or the people around us in the society. For maintaining this only, the additional practice which is named as introspection, that helps us. So after doing the meditation, we got some kind of mental power, and when we do the introspection, we will be able to analyze why others are behaving in that and how to understand the connectivity between ourselves. And by realizing the importance of maintaining our inner peace, we need to maintain that relationship in a harmonious manner. So for that, these all 6 techniques will be useful for us. And these techniques can be continuously maintained by doing introspection practices effectively. So now we expanded the peace up to the society stage. So next comes the world peace. Again, when we term the word world peace, it's not talking about the peace between the countries or between the leaders or between the continents. It's not like that, right? So every human being, every individual in this world has to be in harmony. Means he has to be living at peace as per the design of law of nature. So for achieving that again, so every individual has to be at peace. That is the reason we have started from the bottom basic step, and when it is growing up to the social level, then it will be expanding to the city, and then a state or province, then country level, then it can go beyond and reach to the world level. Again, it cannot happen on a single day or in a single year, right? That is also visualized clearly by our guru. So that is the reason he has established a clear plan how that has to be achieved in world level. So even though by giving a individual these practices, he has given some kind of high level plan to achieve the world peace when it got expanded to all the human beings also. Generally, I feel that by going through these system practices, we may be doing very good in reaching to the individual peace, because as we all know, many of the countries adopted our system as a practice, and all over the world, many are practicing, and they have seen the individual peace achieved also. So the expansion process only is differing place to place, and some places it is like up to the society level. So we have to do more and more on that expansion part, expanding the peace to up to the world peace level. So for that, when we do meditate, we all know that, right? We are not doing only the meditation to lower the mental frequency. We are starting with all the requirements for doing in a proper manner. So like purifying the place, and then we will start meditate, and end of the meditation at the lower frequency, we start giving the blessings also to our self first. Then in sequence, we are covering all our near and dear ones, right? And then in the end, we are spelling the world peace. prayer also. So in that part, when we do with more effectiveness, we will be able to support to Maharish's dream to be in reality. And when we talk about the plan which he has given for achieving the world peace, before going to that part, I just thought of displaying the poem, what is written by him, the recipe for peace. So this is the poem which drove me to take the topic for today. I'm just giving a pause for you to go through the lines which is displayed. Here, one important point is being mentioned when we talk about the expansion practice happening, like individual peace expanding or the social peace expanding to larger extent up to the world peace. So there is some limitation which is caused by these five fields. Mainly, he's telling that, right? Psychology, health, economics, politics, and science. So apart from the knowledge on our own selves, we have to develop the knowledge on these five fields, and we have to increase our ability, because when the human beings are the number of human beings in this earth is keep on increasing. So when that is increasing, considering the limitation of the place within the earth, utilization of the nature is keep on changing, right? So people, even though they have about the knowledge about self, when they start interacting with nature, so there is some conflicts being arise. So when we increase our knowledge on these five factors, five subjects or five fields, we will be able to support more on this process getting expanded, because when the civilization is growing, there is some limits exceeded due to the lack of knowledge in these five important fields. That is what he's emphasizing in this poem. So in the end, he's concluding this is the cause of misery in mankind, and only when we resolve the aforesaid contradictions would peace and harmony blossom on this earth. So as a conclusion, yeah, that is what I thought of requesting all of you. When we talked about the topic of today, recipe for peace, we may be doing good at first two steps, and we need to do a lot on the last two steps, the expanding social peace up to the world level. So let us all do our best to increase the knowledge on this, which is being the limitation and stopping us from that growth. So what else could be done by us? Yeah. So for world level peace, Maharishi has given, as we all know, the 14 principles. He has designed full-fledged plan on each topic which is being displayed. So this is commonly known as 14 principles of Vedatriyan. So that is what we are considering in our blessing sequence also, right? Before the world peace, we used to bless the Vedatriyan concepts. So these are the 14 concepts which helps the self to deal with the society and nature without getting any kind of conflict. Again, for achieving or for increasing the effectiveness of these 14 principles, we need to have more knowledge on those five fields. Okay. So our guru has written a book on world peace, which is talking about the detailed plan on these 14 principles, as well as how the world peace can be put in practice when world level country leaders are accepting the concept. So the first objective has to be like individual peace has to be there for everyone. For that, everyone in this world should learn these kind of practices, and when they understand and manage the three components within them, they will be able to attain peace. So in peaceful state only, we will be able to think about the world peace plan and execute all this plan. Definitely for achieving that, our simplified Kundalini Yoga practices, proper learning and proper follow-up of those practices along with constant awareness and introspection. So when we follow that, definitely we could be able to succeed. So this is what a thought we have to keep emphasizing from today onwards. With that request, I will conclude